Hey, I do buckaroos. How the heck are you? So I just finished the show with the Lager Room guys, and I thought I'd pop on here real quick anyway. Um, there's been a lot happening this last week. We've lost some icons in music and in brewing. I just heard today that Ozzy just died, and boy, that meant a lot to my childhood, man. Of course, listen to Black Sabbath, but I mean, really, was that first Blizzard of Oz album that was just insane. So, anyways, bear with me. I got to jump off camera for a second, grab something to drink, and I will be right back. All right. I apologize for the wait there. It took me a minute to get my stuff. So, anyways, how the heck are you? It is Tuesday here with the Whiskey Whisperer. I'll be honest with you. I had a couple beers. Well, I had three beers actually for the Lager Room guys. Christmas in July show, and I just cannot drink any more beer. So I'm gonna pour myself some whiskey here and then just kind of reminisce a second. But let me try to do something real fast. Or as fast as I can do it anyway, since you all know I'm a little bit technologically challenged anyway. Oh, mercy. There we go. Got that there. Okay, if any of my buddies would like to jump on, you are free to if you would like. If not, that's okay too. I understand it's getting late. It's a Tuesday. Probably got to work tomorrow. I get it. I fully understand, man. So you're not going to hurt my feelings. We were talking about a lot of Christmas this evening. Uh, for the Christmas in July show, but we also talked about some other things about craft beer, whiskey, the videos, that sort of thing, personalities, influencers, if you will. That it has become about money, right? When I started doing it way back when, it was never about making any money. It wasn't trying to make another living. It was about basically propagating craft beer, and then for me also craft whiskey. And just so many of these folks are in it only for monetary gains. They don't care about the love of anything. And that was part of it is that uh, there's nothing wrong if somebody offers you a beer here or there, even to pay your tab. But there is something inherently wrong with walking into some place expecting them to pay your tab. And it kind of feels like that's what's going on these days. And it's not even about paying a tab anymore. It's doing these videos and expecting people to pay you just to do your video, because I mean, at this point, an influencer, if you will, is nothing more than a paid spokesman. These people don't have your best interest at heart. They're getting paid to sell you something. But you're watching people you think you trust, because you want to. It's their job to say you something. They're doing is a commercial. You're watching a paid spokesperson, and that's the problem with influencers. And even the word influencer is that they're nothing more than a paid spokesperson. All right. Anyway, let me grab something real fast here. I've got some Tattersall bottled and bond 4-year-old whiskey. It is at 100 proof. Bottled and bond typically is, right. But I love this mash bill. It's got a very interesting mash bill at 55% corn, 35% wheat. 55% corn is a rather low amount of corn, considering it has to be a minimum of 51 to be considered bourbon. So it's at 55. 35% wheat is a lot of wheat. That really softens the body. But because we've got that low amount of corn, we're not talking about an overly sweet whiskey. 10% malted barley. That again, that's a nice amount of barley. That gives you a nice chewy product. So it's not thin, it's not weak on the mouthfeel. So I'm going to pour some both neat and rocks. Oh, and I did this video off the cuff, so I honestly don't expect anybody to jump on. But if you would like, I'll send you the link. But yeah, her and that Aussie dying, that one hit me a little hard, man. That was big to my youth. I think I was about 15 ish in that neighborhood, when the first Blizzard of Oz album came out with the great, inimitable Randy Rhoads, who, if he would have lived longer, probably would have been thought of as the greatest of all time. The real bummer was that there was a lot of rumors about the next album, right? There was a lot of rumors about what it was going to be like. And growing up in Southern California, it's not that Randy Rhoads was a star per se, because he wasn't, but he was known in the music community. Everybody knew he was one of the best ever in that area. Anyway, uh, but it was also known that he was into classical guitar. So there was some early interviews with Ozzy would talk about Randy Rhoads' long fingernails. And so there was a lot of rumors that there was going to be a lot of classical guitar influence on that next album. A lot of us youngsters, about 15-ish, we were looking forward to seeing what he was going to do with that, man. What kind of guitar, I mean, what kind of leads he was going to do, basically electrifying classical guitar. It was amazing. And unfortunately, it just never happened because he died. But I think one thing you got to hand to Ozzy is he had a knack for finding talent. I mean, it was Randy Rhoads, it was Jakey Lee, Zach Wild. I mean, he just had a knack for finding talent. He wasn't finding folks that already were known commodities, right? I mean, there were a lot of rumors early on when he was going to put it out there, or when he was leaving Black Sabbath, what you know what band he was going to put together. A lot of them expect him to put together, again, known commodities in the world, but he didn't. He compiled a lot of young musicians who were just amazing. I mean, he made a lot of, well, no, that's not quite right. I was going to say he made a lot of folk stars, but that's not true. He gave a lot of folks an opportunity to really show what they do, and they made themselves stars. I mean, that early band, I mean, damn. And I'm going to pull up the info here so I don't get it wrong, because sometimes my memories are different from the reality. So I want to make sure I get this right, because there are some names I remember, but I want to make sure I say this exactly right. Oh, yeah, there it is. Okay. That first album. Wow. Well, darn it, I lost my info again. Well, it's not showing me what I want there. Bear with me. I'm going to find it, damn it. Oh, Randy wrote, oh, Bob Daisley. Yeah. Bob Daisley on bass. Lee Kerslake on drums. Oh my gosh. That album was just insane. The whole album was just brilliant. But for those of us youngsters that grew up in Southern California, I mean, it's not that we were necessarily familiar with Randy Rhoads, but he had been known in the area with the local band Quiet Riot. So a lot of us knew him or knew of him. Uh, so when you see this, oh my gosh. Um, but again, that first album was just so remarkably insane, right? I remember as a kid when I first bought that album, you put it on and you heard Crazy Train for the very first time. It was just mind blowing because there was nothing like it ever before. Of course, you had Ozzy's amazing um, vocals. I'm not going to say he had a great voice. I'm not going to say he was an incredible singer, but but I'm saying he had an amazing sound, and it was that nucleus, right? That particular ensemble where you had Randy Rhoads just doing what he did. Oh my God, that kid would have been the best ever. 'Cause I remember at the time, I mean, all of the attention was on Eddie Van Halen, and rightly so, because he was doing a lot of innovations at the time. But then when Randy Rhoads came out, everybody went, "Holy fuck, what is that?" Because there was an emphasis in rock and roll, especially that metal at the time, to be fast. But Randy Rhoads went past that, right? He exceeded that. He went past fast. He was able to combine fast with melodic, which others weren't able to do. I mean, there were some fast guitarists of the day. I don't need to mention the name. A very and, very hard to pronounce name. And he was great. This particular kid was very fast, but Randy had a way of being fast and melodic at the same time, where other guitarists of the time weren't able to combine. Because not everything needed to be played exceedingly fast. You could play it fast and slow it down. I mean, Randy Rhoads was just something special, man. He just did things that nobody else was doing at the time. Again, he was combining classical guitar elements with hard rock slash heavy metal elements at the time, which nobody knew, nobody understood. And we talk about, the finger tapping of Eddie Van Halen. Um, but again, if Randy Rhoads had lived, the techniques he was using, I mean, were never done before. I mean, he was pioneering a whole new thing, and it's just a damn shame that none of us got to hear it. He was just so amazing, man. Uh, And there were some other great guitarists, right? I mean, again, Ozzy just had a knack for picking talent. I mean, after Randy Rhoads, it was Jake E. Lee. And quite frankly, I don't think Jake E. Lee really got a fair shake. Coming right after Randy Rhoads, there was just no way everybody was going to be happy. But he was a great guitarist in his own right. But again, I remember at the time thinking, but I was a kid, right? I was 15, 16, thinking, but really? But looking back and listening to that music now as an old person, yeah, in all honesty, none of us gave Jake E. Lee a fair shake at the time simply because he wasn't Randy Rhoads. And then Zach Wild did what he did. And it just came down to the fact that Ozzy had a way of picking talent. I mean, at one time he had the great Rudy Sarzo in his band on bass. I mean, was there a better hard rock slash metal bass player than Sarzo? Well, it kind of depends on what you like, but for my money, no, there wasn't. No, he was a great underrated bass player overall. And I don't know that anybody played that hard rock genre better than Rudy Sarzo. Ah, mercy. Anyways, I digress. I digress, man. Well, I thought a couple friends might join me. I gotta try to get some invitations out there early, but obviously I'm not going to. So I'm gonna shut this down now before before. Now I'm gonna shut it down now and take a little break, and I may come back early because it is only 9:30 ish. So, anyways, I am Tom the Whiskey Whisperer, Whiskey Evangelist, perfect whiskey drinker, perverse, all around good guys.